Hey guys, it's Will. So recently, have you walked through the airport and seen how they scan your face and then allow you to go through the airport security quite easily if they have you on file? Well, that's something that's happening right now, and it's happening with this technology, Big Bear AI. Big Bear AI is a stock that we've seen go from just in the last few months. We started covering it under $2 a share. It went from $1.36 up to $5.30 a share. So Big Bear AI, again, they are a technological AI company that works in the Department of Defense. They have government contracts and they specifically focus on processing large amounts of data for security, for the government to be able to identify different things in that data that might be anomalies or maybe potential threats to the entity that they are protecting. So, Big Bear AI has these levels we marked out back here in December, so I could just extend these levels out just for ease of use. And then we can see that this trend has been holding on Big Bear. I remember we first started covering it back here. People were saying that it was a pump and dump, and then we said, well, it's holding pattern, and then it sold off here, and people are saying it's a pump and dump. We said, well, it's holding pattern, and then it's just been holding pattern really on this consistent uptrend. You see that rising support right there, and a semi-consistent resistance rising as well. And so since this $5.30 high, it's sold down to $2.80 for recovering to what is now $3.95. And now it's just from this extended level that we had marked out earlier, a previous resistance, previous support, which oftentimes acts as resistance, is now right here. So you can see this level got rejected. It broke above after bouncing here at this previous level. And then we see that it's holding now at this $3.90 to $4 range. And it was down about 5% today. Saw it push up quite a bit yesterday. And so now it's holding this level. What we're looking at is a few things. If we just kind of get rid of the drawings, you guys can see that it crossed above this green line. So if I get this this time frame correct here, let's see if we can. Yes. So this green line, this is the the SMA, simple moving average. Oftentimes we're going to see the simple moving average act as a support. It was acting as a support until after this sell-off, it crossed below. We were looking possibly bearish at this moment, but then we saw it push up above that moving average, holding above the EMA as well, and then now it just shot down to retest a little bit. So the technicals have been bullish. They've been quite consistent. We see it sell off a little bit. Now, if we are holding true to pattern, we could see it either hold this level for a very bearish case. What's most likely could happen is it goes down and retests this level at $3.70. But the upside from here, we see that $5.30 upside from current price to there would be about 33% increase. Now, some of the price targets on this stock were between $4 and $10. So there is room to grow, but there's still, I would say, some risk associated with getting in right now. Might want to wait a little bit. If you've been in since the $2.80 range, that's where we bought actually, $2.80. Then you could be okay to just hold, expect some volatility, and we'll look possibly at market open for a sell-off on Tuesday. Market's not open on Monday. And so we'll be looking there to see what happens in our live session. If you guys want to join, it's that second link down below. Now, when we look at the technicals, things look fairly bullish and they're holding levels. We'll see what it does at market open. But let's take a look at Big Bear AI as a stock and as their tech develops. I just went through the airport when I was going to CES, which is that international tech conference. Got to see quantum computing and see some GPU tech, as well as some really great new developments in AI. And when I was there, I was flying out, and I believe Big Bear AI was at the airport. that I was flying through, because they scanned my face. It went through that whole thing. Um, and then you can see on their financials, they've gotten some really great contracts, and we'll get into it, and we'll get into some of the news. There's kind of three things we look at. It's the market. So they're in the AI space. The market is growing and expected to grow in 2025. But then we see on top of that, there is analysis. So three parts to that. We look at the chart that we just started to go through here, and it's looking a little overextended, potentially would sell back down a little bit before continuing up if we hold this bullish momentum. Then we look at the financials. That's kind of B. We got A, B, and C. So B is financials, and then C of the analysis is going to be the actual news and the fundamentals of the company, how things look, what we know about the company. So what I'm saying here with the financials is they're the one piece of the analysis that don't look the best. You can see the revenue was up year over year. They have 41 million. They made 22% increase year over year in their revenue, but their net income still down a little bit, negative 12 million. It's down about 400%. It's not uncommon to see these types of lower net incomes, especially negative, when you're looking at emerging technologies. So keep that in mind. But then we see net profit margins were down, operating income was down, cost of revenue is going up a little bit. So the financials themselves were not the best. And that was something we're talking about with this company, is you're still kind of buying the innovation and hoping that they're going to make more as a result of the contracts that are flowing in. So let's take a look at some of their partnerships. We know that they were working with the Department of Defense. We know that they just partnered with Palantir recently in using Palantir's products to be integrated with the company. So Palantir, they're a company that specializes in working with many different government agencies. They work on in the Department of Defense, among other agencies, but they specialize in processing massive amounts of data through AI. A good example would be like Boston Hospital. I mean, this is a company that takes millions of data points. You could say every single person that's in a bed, or all the beds in the hospital, let's say, and their availability. And then you have also all of the doctors, right? So then you got all the doctors, and they all have their own specializations. Every doctor specializes in its own thing. And then you go down to the patients. Every patient is dealing with something different. Not every person is going to be looking for the exact same specialist. They're all going to need to be lined up and matched with each other strategically to give the patients the best experience with the best doctor. Okay, so if you look at Boston Hospital, they partnered with Palantir, for example, to basically make it so that all of that can be automated. An AI processes all the data and all of the patients and the doctors and says, this doctor is scheduled to meet with this patient because this doctor has the specialization that matches this patient perfectly. So now thousands and thousands of decisions that were being made by humans, probably not as efficiently and as well, are now being made by an AI that processes all the hospital's data and can make the best decisions for everyone. And so that's a really good example. You could look at BigBear.AI in, for example, the airports. You know, they're in Denver International Airport. They're over in Heathrow Airport. And so they're obviously dealing with a lot of data. How do they recognize different threats to security? Maybe there's some thieves going through. Maybe there's some wanted fugitives or some illegal aliens that have committed crimes that are going through. And they're able to process all that data. They don't have to go deep on the research for each person individually. And that the TSA people, imagine how tiring that would be to go through and actually vet every single person. Like, it should usually happen if there's going to be threats to terrorist attacks. But also on top of that, you want to make sure that it's not exhausting and that humans are going to be easily manipulated by maybe how the person looks, talks, or does whatever. And so when you look at AI looking at all the data, it's a little scary. I'm kind of get upset to say that like all my data is out there when I go do that, or go get on a flight. Maybe I got to fly private then. If you got more money, you don't have to worry about it. I don't know. But when it comes to this Big Bear and Palantir partnership. It just makes a whole lot of sense to see that. You see predictive analytics, low code interfaces, building upon agility and scalability with Palantir's Foundry data. BigBear.AI's products will enable businesses. So they're not just working with airports, but they work with businesses as well to achieve return on investment faster with out-of-the-box optimization solutions. Pricing, inventory is a big deal, asset allocation, even down to facility and operations management, even customer targeting. So that's a big deal. You can look at their industries up here. They're in government and defense. And if it loads here, you can check on BigBear.AI's site. You got AI and industries. They're government of defense solutions. They work with the Pentagon, manufacturing and warehouse, healthcare and life sciences, and academia. You look at some of their press releases. Big Bear and Heathrow collaborate to bring advanced technologies to the airport. Big Bear showcased AI orchestration at the edge during Department of Defense technology readiness. And then Big Bear was awarded status on Department of Defense Tradewinds procurement platform. There is an Army contract that they recently secured. If we look at some of their news directly from their own website, which is a good place to look, there's literally a lot of fake articles out there. I always go to the site. There was this one time where I read this article about a company that was supposed to stop working with NVIDIA on microchips. It was super microcomputer. And Yahoo Finance had an outright fake article. And I covered it on my YouTube. And it turned out that that news wasn't correct. So a lot of people became bearish after watching my video. And they sold the stock. And I don't encourage you guys to buy or sell based on my video, right? Don't do that. That's not why we're here. We're here to observe and look at companies. But then what happened was, then the stock continued to rally like 20 or 30%. And people came back and they said, Will, like that article was bogus or something like that. And so I come up and I'm like, guys, I had to make another video. I'm like, I'm sorry. I didn't know that Yahoo Finance was straight up publishing fake articles. And if that affected you guys, I am terribly sorry. If you sold early and didn't get to capitalize on the gains that we just saw in the stock. And that was a funny story because right after they did that, someone sent me like $20 in the comment section. They were like, thanks for taking accountability or something like that. Thank you guys for the comments and things like that. It's always funny when that happens because it was so funny. That was one of the guys that was like, this is bogus. You're a fraud in the first comment that you said on my first video. And then when I made the video explaining the article and then I was like, sorry, he like sent me $20 and he was like, nice owning up to it. It was so funny. You guys are hilarious. And so BigBear.AI, they also got this Oasis Plus contract. Basically what that means is they are kind of like on demand, ready to service the US government and Department of Defense defense agencies at any time. So it's a 10-year ordering period. So they just basically locked in this on demand. We're here to serve the government in its federal, civilian, and defense agencies. And so that was something they're working with research and development, intelligence services, and logistics. So if you go onto Google or anything like that and you look at BigBear.AI from kind of a news perspective, most of it is going to be hype articles, as we see. But sometimes, every once in a while, you get an article that's like of substance. You could see former Homeland Security Chief, which this is actually an okay source here. Kevin, Chief Executive CEO, has been appointed the CEO and board member effective January 15th. So Big Bear just got a new CEO. Brings extensive government experience, having served as acting secretary, U.S. Department of Homeland Security during the Trump administration and as commissioner of U.S. Customs and Border Protection. So seeing that overlap, definitely would, his expertise would make sense. But that's kind of what we're talking about, right? Big Bear AI is in that place of border protection. They're in that place of U.S. Customs. So it makes a whole lot of sense to have a CEO like that in the company. Board Chair Peter Canito highlighted the strong demand for AI solutions in government and business, emphasizing McLean's understanding of national security and priorities. Um, Positives, we kind of just went over it. Extensive government experience, strong demand for AI solutions. Negative, unexpected CEO transition might create temporary leadership uncertainty. That's true. I mean, they're switching CEOs. That can always happen. Overall, though, it's holding this trend. And one more analysis on the technicals. So, again, financials and news and everything else. I would say news looks very promising. You kind of look at this trend here. There's really, it gets a little advanced when we're doing a rising support and resistance as we are here. But there's this level, okay? Kind of see that. And then there's also this level. So there's 3 levels of resistance. There's more if I want to find it, but there's kind of 3 levels of resistance here. They're on this uptrend. So you could see this rising support and then rising resistance. And then now it's at this level where it did just get rejected. You could see that. Got rejected at this new level. What we'd want to see, it's possible this is the pullback here. And if it breaks above this $4.50 range, then the next levels would be into that 10% to what could be up to here 20% or more upside. And that's just kind of on the near term. One thing to keep in mind is that Big Bear AI is a smaller cap. So let's take a look at their market cap really quick. But so they're under $1 billion. So they're just 982 million. They're smaller cap, but just because they're smaller cap doesn't mean we won't see consistent patterns. It will be volatile, but we are seeing some established consistent trends. So keep that in mind. We could potentially see it. This is the level it's playing in right now, so it could sell down to this $3.30 range. It's possible, but the levels it's playing in, if it breaks above and can break out above this $4.50 range, then next targets look a lot higher, and we'll have to see what that looks like at market open. Guys, if you want to watch me trade live at market open tomorrow, or not tomorrow, at market open, next market open, we go live every single morning at 6:30 a.m. So that's Pacific time. If you'd like to get an email reminder where you get an email, it's got a link to go click through and watch me trade live and give market updates on different stocks for you. Sometimes people request stocks and I go through them, I do analysis, but I also show you exactly what I'm investing in, the different stocks I'm looking at in the AI space. We look in tech and space, as well as quantum computing, and even a little bit of oil and gas recently, as the tariffs are impacting some of the changes here in 2025. Slowed oil production in Middle East means ramp up of U.S. production in the U.S., so we'll see some good opportunities there. And then on top of the daily live sessions that we do at Market Open, you can also get access to technical analysis, fundamental analysis, how to analyze assets. There's a bunch of lessons there for you as well. And there's also a group where you get access to basically collaborate with like-minded investors and traders all in one place. It's a group where we talk about different stocks, and in that group, you get to see what people are doing that's working, what's not working, and I share with you each week the upcoming stocks, my weekly watch list, and the stocks that are reporting earnings that we want to take a look at and pay attention to in the upcoming week. But overall, it's very simple. We keep the approach very easy for you to digest, and it's as simple as going to the second link down below. We have our January New Year sale there, and if you click through, you check out the video at the page, see if you like it. Click through, there's an order form there. You just enter your information, and then you'll be prompted to basically set your reminders for the market open session for next week, or the next market open if you're seeing this video. So again, it's that second link down below. I would encourage you to simply take a look. That's Stockmate down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Big Bear AI is one we've been covering for a few weeks or a few months, back to even under $2 a share. We'll continue to keep you updated on the stock. And if you'd like to really stay updated, make sure to subscribe. And if I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.